Hi everyone, my name's Michelle and I'm Mama Loves UGB here on FlossTube, but also over on Instagram and Etsy as well. Welcome to the Sunday morning briefing. I'm sorry I wasn't here last week. Well, quite frankly, age and experience should have told me that I probably should have told you the week before that I wasn't going to be here. Mainly because I've been teaching 25 years now and I've been doing FlossTube for 5 years. I had my 5-year anniversary at the end of August. And, you know, as I said, age and experience should have taught me that the first week in September is potentially a no-go for additional activities, because there is other things, lots of other things that need to be organised and sorted in the first week of school, ready for the rest of the year. So yeah, last week just was not, there was no room left on the dance card at all, I'm afraid. Plus also I had 3 social engagements. I know. I had to be a social butterfly 3 times, and quite frankly that took it out of me as well. The bins go out more frequently than I do, and we had 3 in one weekend. A birthday party for Ness, a sort of a gathering of lots of friends, and also Ness and I went to the big craft exhibition that takes place in Cardigan Castle. Now this is, you know, this is way above your sort of standard sort of craft fair. This is the best makers from all across Wales, all across England, Scotland, and they come and they show their wares, they do demonstrations, all sorts of lovely things. There were some I've got this funny little cough. I have not got any cold or anything like that. Chris, however, has been absolutely floored this weekend by something that I have carried home. How does that work? Anyway, before I interrupted myself. So yes, we went to Cardigan Castle for this fabulous event and saw lots of demonstrations, lots of brilliant crafts, lots of fabulous makers. So I have a new mug. How fabulous is she? This is by the lovely Kate Glanville, who you might... It does say her name on the bottom, but I've got too much tea in at the moment to be slurping it right up. So I'll show you her name when I get to it. So she was there and she had a display where you could paint plates, just wipe a bit of dust off that, paint plates with marker pens, the special porcelain marker pens, and then you just set them in the oven. So Ness did that one, which is lovely, really lovely. Now I have got a lot to share with you today because I was missing in action last week. Lots and lots, and probably even more than lots, because what I decided to do is to commemorate Sampler September, as well as having the sale that I had at the beginning of the month, and thank you to everybody who bought charts then. I have got down all my framed samplers that are finished, obviously, and framed, the ones that are finished and not framed, and I thought I'd do a little parade at the end. Now, don't get me wrong, I am no Brenda or Carol. I've got quite a few, but not... I was able to go and get them off the walls, so put it that way. The rest of today's events are going to be done in the order of how big things are and how much room are they taking up on the table. So the first thing, I probably should give you more of an outline. I've got the winner of the box, cotton and twine box. I've got another cotton and twine box to give away. I've got stitching to show. I've got a new craft that I had to go at because I need another hobby. I have got a new sampler that I bought at auction that I want to share with you, which makes me smile a lot, and a bit of haul. So I've shown this one a couple of times now. This is this one, and that's been up on my channel for a couple of 3 weeks now. So the winner of that one is, I've got it scrawled on a piece of paper here, at Coffee and Cross Stitch Nicola. So congratulations. If you would like to drop me either an email or an Instagram message, then I will need your address and I can send that one out to you. Right, the September one to give away. I haven't even opened this box yet, so let's have have a go at that and see what is inside. So you get this lovely paper, and then inside we have the design for September, which, if I remember correctly, yes, is by Crochet Go Go. And I'm sure I've heard that there may be others of these in the works, so that you would have a set of seasons potentially over the course of a certain amount of time. If you've liked the cotton and twine boxes previously, but didn't necessarily want everything in the box, they have developed some new tiers of membership. So there's the box with everything in it and all the goodies, there's the pattern and the kit, and there is just the pattern. So do go back and have another look at that if you've looked in the past and maybe decided not to go for it, but wanted something slightly different from them. They've now got that. I will put a code down below as well. If this is your first box, then there is a code FIRST15 to get 15% off of it. So that is the chart. There is some lovely gingham finishing material, and also some twine to go around the edge. A cup of tea. This time it is everyday tea. A honeycomb bar. Now, I particularly like those, so fingers crossed that gets to you. I guess it will, I won't eat it. And then some lovely 32 count linen, and all of those beautiful autumnal threads. Woo! A cracking box. So if you would like to win this box, if you can use the code FOX, then that would be great. Oh, I didn't show you this lovely little knitted pumpkin for your displays. Right, well that's cleared the decks a little bit. I can see the counter now. Unlike over there, which if I can be quite frank with you, I think we're friends. There is a mixture of kind of beautiful hand-stitched samplers stacked almost a little bit precariously, and then over there is the dishes from tea time, waiting for the dishwasher to finish its previous cycle, almost stacked a little bit precariously. And I'm hoping that never the twain shall meet, otherwise that could be a right mess. Right, so what have I stitched on? I had some very grand, lofty plans for September, which again, probably with hindsight and 25 years experience, I should remember that perhaps I don't get as much stitching time in the first week in September as I have done in the last week in August. And I wanted to work on two particular samplers, and I think I did better on this one actually, the ES Spot Motif sampler. I did, and this one I haven't ironed. Oh, my kid, I haven't ironed anything. This one I did get some really good progress on. I think I've got this in Pattern Keeper, and I think it's about 85% now. So really not too far. So I'd really like to get this one finished by the end of Sampler September. Even if I have to forego some of my other sort of progress plans, I think I'd like to get a sampler finished in Sampler September. That one is available from 1884 Stitchery in paper copy or PDF. And for a long time, it was a unicorn chart for a lot of people. It's from a company called A Female Worth, and they were extremely hard to get. And as you can see, it's absolutely beautiful. The other thing that I wanted to get finished and work on this week, and this has really taken a bit of a back seat, is Keziah Campbell. And I have worked on it, but not hugely. I don't suggest a game of Spot the Difference between last time I showed you and this time. It's yeah. it'll be too difficult for everybody. There's probably about another 100 stitches in it, if that. Now, I'm going to be a bit naughty and I'm going to show you the thing that I have worked on quite a bit. And I'm going to show it to you, bearing in mind I can't tell you anymore. I can show it to you and I can't tell you anymore. It will be coming out in the next couple of weeks. That's as much as I can say, but where and how, I'm going to leave that. So yes, I can't say anymore. So this is an original design, and this is called Harvest Tricksters. And as I said, it is just a peek. There we go. That's it. Can't say anymore. Can't say anymore. But next week I can tell you about it, and I can tell you all about everything. There have been plans afoot, let me tell you. Right. Now, as I said, the other thing that I did was I started a new craft. So I suppose I have been quite busy. Now, it is Lynn the Lancashire Stitcher's fault completely. Every time she shows her little Santa beaded bag, my heart goes into palpitations, and I really want to do that. So I found where you get the pattern, where you get the kit, where you get the beads, everything to do it. And then I hit upon a slight snag. I've never done beading before, and I had no idea how to do the peyote stitch, which is what is in that. Now, I'm still not quite sure I know how to do it in that format, the flat format, but I've taught myself how to do it in order to make a star, which is quite a common way of doing the peyote stitch, and actually I guess just learning how the beads fit together. So I found a tutorial for a little peyote star, and I ordered some beads, and then I found another pattern for a peyote star. They happen to use sort of similar colours. So this was the freebie that came with a video. So I watched the video and I made the star. So it's a little white star with little Christmas, almost like poinsettias on it. There we go. It's really cute. I'm not quite sure I've stuffed it effectively. I'm not quite sure. I know some people don't, but I felt mine just needed a little bit of stuffing. And I'm not sure that I've done the points brilliantly. I need to see if I can find a tutorial that specifically shows how you do the points on a peyote star. And I presume I'm saying that right. I'm sure that's how other people have said it. And then I decided that I wanted to do a slightly bigger one. So that's what it's going to look like using the warped square. And this is one of the warped squares. I have done 15 rows out of 20 on this one. So this one is going to be a little bit bigger, and it's kind of more geometric in pattern. Now I'm not doing too bad. I have got one bead, the wrong colour, in the wrong place on the back of that one, just up there. Oops. But it's only going to hang on my tree, so it doesn't matter. And I'll kind of make it hang this way. I've got one flipping red bead in place on this one as well. And it's, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. On this line here, I've got one red bead straying into that green row. But again, it's going to hang on my tree. And so it's all a learning curve, isn't it? It's all a learning curve. But certainly these are a bit harder to take apart than stitching. So yes, I've got, as I said, 5 more rows to do on that piece, and then another 4 of those, and this time I'll have a much bigger star. But I really enjoy it, really enjoyed it. I've seen another beautiful one that I want to do, and it's got an owl sitting on a pumpkin on it. So I might put a picture of it up there if I can remember it, because I really like it. Right, I'm going to do a freebie, and then I'm going to do another 2 giveaways. So this is the freebie. Look at this. A broken star pattern from Carolyn Manning. This one is called Flight of the Bumblebee. And you can get this whole thing for free on Carolyn's Facebook group in the files section. There was a post about it not too far from the top, but the actual file for it is in the file section. So if you're not already a member of the Carolyn Manning group, then you need to go and become a member, because that's fabulous. Beautiful colours. Lots of people stitch these and I really like them. Fabulous. Right, 2 more giveaways. Ruthie from Crowsfeet Stitching has designed 2 more Halloween charts. Now, by her own admission, Halloween is her absolute favourite. And so it's no surprise that she's got another Halloween and 1 more autumn. But this whole time of year is her favourite. So the first one is called Autumn Time. And she has got others in this sort of similar collection, which I know a lot of people have already stitched. But you've got a little badger on there, a squirrel, some pumpkins, owl, all sorts. Fabulous. So these are PDFs. So if you would like to win a copy of this, then please put the word autumn in your comment, shall we say, and I'll just need your email address if you win this one. It is stitched in a mixture of Classic Colourworks, Gentle Arts and Weeks Dye Works, using Rosings Parlour Linen by Swan Bay Fabrics. Beautiful. And then her other one is a Halloween design. It's called Halloween Night, and it says, Halloween night, you must beware, for frightful things are in the air. And this is stitched on Mirage Picture This Plus and uses Weeks Dye Works, Classic Colourworks, Gentle Arts and DMC. So a good old mixture there, just picking out the perfect colours from each of those dyers. So I like that one. I love the witch. The witch is perfect, Ruthie, well done. Love, love, love. So just a quick recap. Autumn. Oh, did I say one for this one? Oh, witch. Yeah, witch. Yeah. Autumn, witch and fox. Definitely witch. Even if I'd said before a different one, it's witch. Okay. Oh, can you tell how much of my brain is actually left? It's a wonder I'm still breathing sometimes. Right. Now, before I do my little bit of haul, I want to show you a sampler that I bought at auction. Now, it wasn't very expensive. It wasn't very expensive. And I saw it and it just made me laugh. It just made me laugh. So this is not a highbrow sampler in any way, shape or form. And you'll see in a minute, as soon as I can find the Leatherman out the drawer, it'll be out of the frame that it's in. It's a religious piece. It's a religious piece, and it comes from, the quote in the middle comes from the parable of the 10 virgins. So that's, you know, we're ready to listen straight away, aren't we? Now, for those of you who don't know the parable of the 10 virgins, and I didn't know the parable of the 10 virgins, it's about 2 rooms of 10 virgins, so there were actually 20. And they were waiting for the bridegroom. So the bridegroom in this parable is Jesus. And the bridegrooms are divided into the wise and the foolish. And the wise have enough lamp oil and the foolish don't have enough lamp oil. And so this is the whole kind of parable. And it talks about being ready, the readiness of the Holy Spirit and the faith in Christ. And the act of actually maintaining your worship, your commitment to the Holy Spirit. So that's the parable. Now the girl that stitched this has, I think, well, for our tastes nowadays, chosen some rather interesting wording. I'm sorry, it just made me laugh. I will reproduce it, whether anybody will ever want it or not, I don't know. So, as I said, get ready for the most, in fact, let me move my cup of tea out the way before that becomes an unholy mess. So, here is it's stitched on really like big count fabric in wool and parts of it over too. So I've put a sticky piece of paper there. It says, work in health when Jesus giveth spiritual oil. So spiritual oil is about the filling of these lamps that these virgins have and whether they've got enough oil in their lamps. I'm just going to show you what it is in the middle. And I'm just going to reproduce the middle, I think. I don't think I'm going to reproduce the bit around the outside. So it says, trim your lamps, the bridegroom may come suddenly. Now, you probably watch me because you've got a similar sense of humour to me, but I thought that and it just made me giggle. It just made me giggle. So I think I'm going to just reproduce this bit in the middle with that warning on it. Trim your lamps because the bridegroom may come suddenly. It's a mix, it's actually a really nicely stitched piece of work because you've got satin stitch in diamond shapes and sort of normal satin stitch, plus you've got the phrase. So I can just see that, it just stitched, that centrepiece, stitched in red with all that beautiful satin stitch, just as a little curio. How long it'll take me to get round to doing it, I don't know. But yes, it made me smile enough to buy it at auction and get the auction house to post it. And as soon as I can, the frame will be going to the tip. Now, can you see Kate's name at the bottom now? I love these. I love these mugs. Right, as I said, I've got a little bit of haul to share with you. Not very much, just some of those market charts that I bought and one I've been trying to find for a long time. And then I will go and grab my samplers and I will show those to you if you'd like to stay and watch them. Now, the first thing I bought was this. So this is from Cheryl at Stitching Woodcraft, and it is a beautifully made floss winder so that you can have all your floss the same length hanging on your bobbins. What do you call them? Floss drops. Those things, floss drops. So I was really pleased to be able to buy one of those. It's beautifully tactile and it has a lovely little motif. It is a spinning wheel. Yeah, spinning wheel and a needle. Beautiful. Whoops, nearly threw things around. This actually I don't think was even on my list for a chart, but I saw it and I just must have missed it. Quilted Tiny Town. Now, I like the tiny towns, but this one I really like, so I can't wait to stitch that one. This was probably one of my picks from market, or the online, the what was I going to call it then? Not an expedition. It's not an expedition. Exhibition. This is the Blue Flower Spooky Shoe Bill. Now, I don't think there's anybody who does animals quite like Janine from the Blue Flower. I love that. And I really like that fabric as well. It is Elixir linen from XG Designs. Now, I've had this before and I haven't got any left because I loved it so much. So I might have to place an order for the specific linen for that one because I do really like it. I also bought this one from Needlework Press. Has that got a needle on it before I throw it on the floor? No. This one from Needlework Press, A Joyful Art. I joyfully apply myself to the needlework that is to be done. I am grateful for the ability to do this art. I totally lost what I was saying there, so you probably saw that I just gave up trying to remember. Right, I bought this one as well. A peacock, a unicorn and a badger. Because I bought, whilst I was in the States, in the attic, I bought the Cedar River linen for this. And then this chart's been quite hard to come by in the UK up until Peakside, well, until I saw it on Peakside. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. I am not doing the green. I'll do everything else, but I'm not doing the green. We also had our linen from Fox and Rabbit. And this is a beautiful colour called Alaskan Gold. Now I already have something in mind for this. I have a reproduction that I think would look fabulous on this, so I might just have to talk to Karen and Brent and see whether it's going to become part of the range or not. Love that. And I joined a new monthly club. I had been a member of the Silks for You club, and I did a set of seasons with them. So I did an autumn, spring, summer, winter of their brilliant value mini hanks. And I decided that I wanted to swap and do something slightly different. And I have joined Letitia from Corey's Little Shop. I have joined her 103 club. Sounds like where you save money for Christmas, doesn't it? This is just a little box that I bought to store them in, and you get 5 a month, and they are the 150 metre spools. So just bear in mind that Averissoir do 2 different sizes. They do 150 metres and they do a 50 metre one. So when you're buying them, just bear that in mind when you're thinking about comparing prices. So this one is 601. That is such a beautiful colour, stunning. And there is this one, which is 177. Okay. This one is 229. So basically you just stay in the club until you've collected them all, or you say to Letitia that you don't need to be in the club. 176. And last but not least, a beautiful green, 271. So I don't know if she's got any spots left or whether all the spots went, but I know she started quite a few new clubs in September, so it's worth going and having a look on her shop. So there's the colours there in my box. And the last thing I bought a little while ago, and I forgot to show you, is this rather fetching frame. Now I bought this from Home Bargain. No, I didn't. I bought it from I bought this from TK Maxx. And what I am hoping, because I haven't even stitched it yet or started it, but what I'm hoping is if I take the correct measurements and choose my fabric wisely, that the Fabulous Birds style might fit in there. It all depends whether this curve is in the right place for the curve of the bird cage, but I am hoping that it will be, because I think that would look fabulous in there, because it kind of mimics the shape of the bird cage. I might have to move some of the birds maybe to make it work, but I just love that. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit, and I'll find something else to put in it. It isn't actually any great shakes. Right, I'm going to pause now. I'm going to go and collect my samplers that are sitting over there, and then I will show you through my finished sampler collection, some of which are framed, some of which aren't. Right, I'm actually going to stand up for this so that I can go and get the bits and bobs I need. I'm going to start off by showing you the ones that aren't framed. Some of these you'll have seen recently, some of them have been sat for quite a while. So this is the first one. This is A Gentleman's Daughter by Plum Street Samplers. I finished this quite recently. So this is a more modern sampler. This is one that has been made by Plum Street Samplers. But it's beautiful. I loved stitching that one. There is this one again. This is a modern one by, I think it's Blueberry Ridge. So this is autumn, and I have got the others to stitch, but have not as yet got around to it. If you want to know any of the fabrics, please let me know. I'll have to look back in my book to see what they are, because I'm not entirely sure, I can't remember. This is the first one by Whilst Iris Naps. This is Florence May Piggin, and I do actually have a frame for Florence May Piggin, so I'm not quite sure what she's still doing in here. I just need to get around to framing her. I remember stitching her with sulky thread though, one strand of sulky thread on 36 count, and she was known while I was stitching her as Little Miss Piggin. I do actually have the chart for her mum's sampler because Christina owns both of them. Although I haven't stitched it yet. This is by Little Robin Designs. This is called, I'm sure it's called the St Ives sampler, and it was stitched in this sort of bright pink sort of colour. I think this is a 27 count. Not something I would usually go for, but I decided to. I might even make that into a little pillow, but like a pillow. This was my Christmas present to myself a couple of years ago. Now this is by Rivaris, and this is called Savio E, and this actually goes on a beautiful handmade spool that I have, but have not finished it yet. I loved stitching this. I changed up some of the colours. It came in a kit, maybe with the fabric, I can't quite remember, but certainly with the spool and the finishing items, but none of the threads. So I just picked my own very similar threads, and I know the red is a Roxy Flosscoat one, but I can't remember which one. And then this one is a Modern Folk embroidery that I have added to. So this is called the Little Birds sampler. I finished this year, I think. Yes, I did. Obviously, finished it this year. And so that, to that point there, is Jacob's charting and design. And then I added onto the bottom this quote about birds using the same font. So it says, "A bird sitting on a tree is never afraid of a branch breaking because her trust is not on the branch but on her own wings." And I really do need to get that finished and framed because I love it. I used a combination of chili pepper, Gentle Art chili pepper, and then the slightly redder version is Gentle Art cranberry. But I love that. So those are my unframed ones. So there's not that many samplers that I need to get framed. There's a lot more that I need to finish that are currently works in progress. Right, these are the ones are in no particular order. They're a combination of samplers that I've stitched and also my own models that just live on the wall. So the first one, this one is Mary Small, Mary A.G. Small. This is one of my reproductions. Mary stitched this when she was 5 years old. She lived in Scotland, but she was actually born in India. She does have a very, very interesting background, which is all in the, still making the stool squeak, even though I'm not sat on it, all in the notes. So lovely little red and green sampler there. One of my favourite parts is this part here, where the tea wouldn't quite fit, but that's not what Mary was worried about. Love that one. Right, this one is from an edition of Antique Sampler and Needlework Quarterly. This one is Anne Davis, age 13, Capel Isaac. Now I stitched this for two reasons. One, because Capel Isaac's not a million miles away, and two, it's one of the only samplers I've ever seen that's got my birth date on it. So July 28th, 1869. So she was born 110 years before me. I wasn't born in 1869, although I feel like it. This, I did my own colour conversion for this one because I wanted to stitch the colours more of the sort of sampler, the back. I'm sure they showed in the article the back of the sampler, so I stitched the back colours, made them up. And then, just swap these over. And then we have some fairy elephants upstairs. This is Jane Marshall by Hands Across the Sea. This was their charity chart that they did for the fires in Australia. I'm not sure if it's still available, but I liked that one, especially the border at the bottom. And another one from Whilst Iris Naps. This is Thurza Hudson. Beautiful little sampler. Love her. Love the colours in that one. Right, I'm going to swap these over. So this one is Be Not A Dunce, which is one of my designs. And I know, I still owe the outer border. It's really not difficult, and I don't know why. It's just taking me so long. I'll get and do it. I will get and do it. It's really simple. There's just two extra really simple little borders around the outside on the original. But I love that one, Be Not A Dunce. That is a very popular chart and lots of you like it. Oops. This little one, I'm going to have to look up and see who this chart is by. I can't think. But I have to say, this is the sampler that I see most commonly on places like eBay, which is clearly a reproduction and it's being sold as an original. I've seen this chart so many times. And every time I see it, I send them a little message, link to the chart. So yeah, I like that one. This one is Mary Clayton by Hands Across the Sea. Loved stitching that house. She was probably my first sort of sampler, like big house sampler. And I say that like I've got lots of others. I've got lots of others in progress, but not necessarily ready. Now this is a really popular one. This is Mary Catherine Harris. And this is a chart from Erna Hiscock. Now, if you don't know Erna is an antique dealer, and she specialises in samplers, textiles, and other bits and bobs. And this is probably one of the only charts on her site, but that's who you have to get it from. I'll put her contact information down below. The chart is just £5, so you just send her, well, contact her first, obviously. Send her £5 by PayPal and she'll send you the chart. I love stitching this one. It's mostly Ada friendly, except for a tiny little bit of over one here, which you could probably either just do with straight stitch or just leave out. Oops. Now, this next one will be familiar to lots of you. This is probably one of my best-selling samplers. This is actually an original design by me. It's not an original sampler, but it's an original design. And this is Nessie Mitchell. For those of you who don't know, Nessie Mitchell was my granny's firstborn, and she didn't survive for very long, didn't survive many days. So I just came up with this sort of little sampler as a little ode to her. So yeah, and interestingly, my daughter's called Ness. Now she wasn't named after Nessie. It means, it's Celtic and it means from the headland or by the coast. And obviously we live by the coast, so that's where her name came from. But it's interesting that it was in the family. And then this one, I do like a good bit of sort of Victorian dower. So this is, if the spring put forth no blossom, in the summer there will be no beauty, and in autumn no fruit. If youth be idle, mature years will be miserable. So this is Anne Dale. Now Anne Dale, if I remember correctly, is in the first edition of Antique Sampler and Needlework Quarterly. Antique Needlework and Sampler Quarterly. Arrange those 4 words. Now you can buy a CD-ROM of all of the Antique Needlework, I'm sure it's Antique Sampler and Needlework Quarterly magazines. You can buy a CD-ROM of all of them. So unless you particularly want the actual magazine, I wouldn't go after lots and lots of different ones on eBay, I would just get the CD-ROM with all of the PDFs on. And I think she's in the first edition. Right, let's get a few more. So this one is another one of my designs. This is called On the Marking of Linens. So it's a kind of it's obviously a new take on a sampler, but it's got lots and lots of linen marking methods on there. Again, it's got lots and lots of information in the booklet and also on the YouTube episode where I showed you this one. Now, this one, Emma Goldthorpe, they kind of went together, these two. Heaven forbid, it's a bit of dust. Now, Emma Goldthorpe was a sad little tale, actually, and again, it's all in the booklet. But she died by suicide when she was 37 or 38. And 10% of this chart goes to the Samaritans. And I just checked before I came on to film this that I need to make a £40 donation to the Samaritans, which I will be doing in honour of Emma Goldthorpe and also in honour of a friend of mine that I knew from sort of way back when. And I've just found out that he has also committed suicide, unfortunately. So yes, I shall make that donation in both their names. Now this is a weird one. This is by Sub Rosa. It's one of my only samplers that have got glass on, and I keep meaning to go in and take the glass out. I think I don't like them with glass on. This has hung on my wall for quite some time, and about 6 months ago I noticed I'd never finished it. I framed it and I've never finished the damn thing. It should have lots of little leaves. No, there are no little leaves apart from there and there. There should be leaves all over this thing. Quite what I was thinking when I finished it, when I framed it, every time I've looked at it ever since. No idea, absolutely no idea. So this one again is a more modern one. I thought I'd missed something else then. This was named for my maternal grandmother, who is actually Nessie's mother. So there we go. And this one is Maud Merry Dodrell. Maud Merry Dodrell was stitched for a class piece for the first Stitch in London sampler edition. Stitched in the colours that she stitched in because they were quite unusual. So there's that one. Two more, including my favourite. So this one is Ada Bilson. This is by Whilst Iris Naps. Little deeds of kindness, little words of love, make our earth an Eden like the heaven above. And I was actually sent that chart from somebody who watches my channel. We'd had a little backwards and forwards, and she sent me this chart. And then last but not least, and my favourite, this is Susan Steele. This is my Norfolk reproduction. She's the biggest. I just love the colours in her, and she's my favourite because of where she took me all the way to the attic. So I just love her. Absolutely beautiful. I've made so many fabulous friendships through this sampler. It's unbelievable. So she has to be my favourite. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed having a little look through my sampler collection. The walls upstairs are bare. Probably could do with the dust, so I might even give a little bit of a once round with the feather duster before I put them back up. Love Sampler September. Really, it's my favourite time of the year. I just wish it wasn't when we went back to school. Anyway, I will see you next week. Stay classy, Stitchers.